Hi, and welcome to our next lesson on earning money. Today we're going to be having a look at budgeting. At its most basic level, a budget is simply just a list of an individual's or a household's money coming in and where it's coming from, and another list on money going out and where it's going to and what it's getting spent on. So as you can see here, we've got 4 steps dealing with a budget. To create a budget, you need to find out where all your money coming into the house or to the individual and list all those income. Step 2 is you need to list all the expenses or where the money is going. Step 3, get the total of both of those, and step 4 is you need to balance it out. So that's the most important thing about a budget, is that it actually balances. Worst case scenario is you're spending more than you're actually making, and that is not a situation you want to be in on a week-to-week basis. Another situation is where you have more income than expenses, and that just means you need to add a little bit in there, and as it says here, a balance category, but for me it makes more sense if you call it a savings category. If it's money where you've accounted for everything you could possibly spend in a week and you've got a little bit left, then ideally you want to be able to save that money. So in a textbook question, you'll be given a list of values as incomes and where they're coming from. So in this little example here, it's already in our table. Our individual earns a salary. They get paid this $20 bonus for whatever reason. They earn some more money from an investment. That investment might be a pretty cheap rental property that they've got. And they also do some part-time work. So if they've got salary and a part-time work, it means they're probably working on the weekend as well. So busy, but they're earning a lot of money. In our expenses, the list becomes quite lengthy, and it's where a lot of itemization starts to happen. So for whatever reason, this person has decided to spend and budget for $73.08 on clothing a week. They've got a Christmas and gift budget where maybe they've got a Crisco hamper or something and they're saving weekly money or putting it away for the Christmas rush. They spend a bit on groceries, they've got some insurance to pay, loan repayments, motor vehicle costs, so that includes your fuel and maybe some general maintenance or services that they're putting money away for. He's got all his bills there. He puts aside $216 and almost 80 cents away for recreation, which is probably maybe he wants to eat out a couple of nights a week, go to the movies or something, so that's his sort of other column. He's got some work-related costs, whatever they might be, and they're all listed there. And as you can see, there's this balance one which remains blank, and that is akin to what I would probably call savings, or your leftovers essentially, if there are any. Okay, having a look at step 3, we need to total up the income and expenses categories. So we've got the totals here. He totals $2,296.65 as income coming in, and his expenses are $2,210.49. So we can see that it doesn't balance, but we can also see that it's alright, like he's earning more money than he's spending in any given week. So we're happy with that, and he's got a pretty good budget. The one thing that we do need to change, and that is step 4, is balance the budget by modifying the categories or entering a balance category. So the first thing where we modify is basically adding little bits to all his expenses so that it adds up to his total income. The other one, and what we're doing, is adding this balance category, or I call it savings. And we work that out by just working out the difference between his income and his expenses. So we get his income minus his expenses, and that tells us that he gets $86.16 spare every week. So he's likely to be able to save that, or just splurge it even more, I guess, on more recreation is what I would do. So that's basically all there is to it, to creating a budget. But there are a couple of things that we do need to keep in mind. So one of those is the time or lengths of time that are given to us in any given question. Typically a budget is weekly. That's a nice time frame to plan your money out over. Some might want to do it fortnightly because you get paid fortnightly, so it makes more sense to do it that way. But what happens if the budget is weekly and the question gives you someone's yearly salary? What do you do about that? And you have to deal with that by dividing the yearly salary by 52 to get the per week value. The values you put into the budget need to match the period that the budget is spanned over. So if it's a weekly budget, you're not entering fortnightly or monthly or yearly values, you're entering weekly values. What is the budget? What if the budget is monthly, but the question gives you a value per quarter? So per quarter is per 3 months, and that's typically what bills get charged to people. So your phone bill, your electricity, your gas, and your water will get charged to you per quarter. And if you are doing a budget per month, you need to realize that a quarter is a quarter of a year and it's 3 months. Therefore, you need to divide the quarterly value of the bill by 3 to get the per month. So they seem pretty straightforward. And here's an example where we'll put them together. So the Thomas family has an electricity bill of $90 per quarter, a phone internet bundle of $230 a month, and mortgage repayments of $10,000 per annum or per year. So what are the weekly budget values? So first off, we'll handle the electricity bill. And it's important to note that $90 per quarter, we cannot simply assume 4 weeks in a month. If we do that, we're going to have 4 weeks by 12 months in a year, and we're only going to end up with 48 weeks in a year, and we know that there's 52. So what we have to do is get the quarterly value, build it up into a yearly value by timesing it by 4, and then dividing by 52 to get the weekly value. And that comes in at 6.923 stuff. And if we're working in general math, we need our answer in the proper units that it needs to be. And we can go to 2 decimal places in money, and $6.92. This guy, the Thomas family, have to budget for an electricity bill. Alright, the phone and internet bill is $230 per month. Again, we can't assume 4 weeks in a month. So we need to build this $230 up to a yearly value by timesing it by 12, and then divide it by 52 to get it per week. Comes in at a lengthy decimal, and again we need to realize that we can only pay to 1 cent, which is 2 decimal places, so we round it off to $53.08. The last one is the mortgage repayments of $10,000 a year. This one is the easy one. It's already per year, so we just divide the $10,000 by 52 to give us a weekly value. Rounding that off to a realistic value of money and cents, we get $192.31. So this is as hard as it will get. The budget itself is easy to put together. You just enter all your values, add each of the categories together to get you the total of your income and your expenses. If they don't balance, just check all your values first off to make sure you've got them all right, and especially check your values if you have less income than expenses. And if they don't balance, you need to add in a balance category in expenses, or add in a savings one, like I'd like to call it, so that it does balance out there like we did in that example. All right, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in class.